when it comes to the world of mechanical keyboards, there are just way too many to compare and review, even actually half of them. But sometimes there are some good ones that stand out and deserve a special video to review them. This, for example, is one of them. This is the Magicforce Smart 68-key mechanical keyboard, and to me, it actually is a very nice and compelling purchase option. And why is this so? Well, you're gonna keep watching to find out. So, as always, we start with the design of the product, and in this case, this mechanical keyboard has a really decent design. It's a 68-key keyboard, so it has, as opposed to a 60% keyboard, 4 arrow keys and 4 program keys on the right. So delete, insert, page up and page down are easily accessible on the right, as well as the 4 arrow keys. And to me, this is an awesome thing, because if I edit videos, which I do a lot of because I run this YouTube channel, I need these keys often, and I find myself using the function arrow up commands on my 60% keyboard way too often, and having dedicated keys for them is like a big bonus. However, you might not give a damn about this layout because you might not use any of these 8 keys that it has over a 60% keyboard, and that is understandable. Everyone has different use cases, but for me, these 4 arrow keys and the 4 function keys, 4 program keys are going to be really godsends for me, and I totally enjoy them being here. In terms of the other parts of the designs, it's actually really nice. It's white with a metal backplate and a clean Magicforce logo on it. It really doesn't shout at you, it isn't vulgar, the font isn't absolutely ugly, even though I don't like it that much. And overall, as a keyboard, it's got this clean aesthetic. It doesn't try to do the gamer BS, which I don't think a lot of people like. So I think it pulls off this clean, simple, office-suitable aesthetic very well, and I genuinely think if you wanted to bring this to your office, no one will judge you, except if you use clicky switches, then everyone will hate you for the noise. But apart from that, it's a really nice, good-looking mechanical keyboard. Now, continuing with the design, if you look at the bottom, you have 4 rubber pads, which is very nice for preventing the keyboard from sliding around on the slippery desk. I do have this issue sometimes because my desk is a very glossy wood, and it does have 2 kickstands that click into place and have rubber feet on them so that you can adjust the angle of your mechanical keyboard for more comfort if you so desire. On the bottom as well, there is the little cable routing area, so you can route your mini USB cable into the mini USB port to connect it to your computer, obviously. And this is actually very nice because the mini USB cable, the port is recessed, so having this cable management is actually really important to keeping the keyboard stable and also keeping everything neat. So that's a very nice touch overall. Now we've talked about design, let's talk about build quality of this mechanical keyboard. How is it? Is it good? Is it bad? And well, the answer, to put it to you shortly, is that it's actually surprisingly good. For the fact that this is like a budget-oriented, focused, cheap kind of mechanical keyboard, it's actually a really good build quality. And I think this is mostly got to do with the metal backplate here. Now this metal backplate adds a lot of rigidity, adds a lot of strength to the overall keyboard. There's pretty much zero flex because of this thick, I think, steel backplate, and because of this backplate, the whole thing feels a lot more premium than it actually is. And if you look at it from the bottom, you see that it's a cheap plastic case. Without this metal backplate, it definitely will fail all my build quality tests ever. Now, while the case feels really good, I have to minus points for the keycaps. The keycaps are thin, crappy ABS keycaps, which are laser etched, so they're going to wear down fast. They're likely to crack after many months of usage, and they're going to be glossy from your finger oils if your hands are always dirty and you use them for a long period of time. So the keycaps suck, but everywhere else this keyboard is actually really good in the build quality department. I'm okay with the keycap sucking because in the future, if it does break, I can always replace it with another keycap set that I can buy for cheap on like Taobao or Alibaba or Amazon or the lot. The options are endless, and because it's a mostly normal standard layout, it's quite easy to find replacement keycaps, so I should be fine. Okay, now we're done talking about the design and build quality. How about its functionality? So because this is a 68-key mechanical keyboard, it loses out a lot of functions over a full-size or 10-keyless keyboards, namely the F keys and maybe possibly play pause buttons, or home and buttons, and the number pad. So how does it make up for the loss of these buttons? And the answer is really simple. As with many small keyboards, commands. So to play to press volume up and volume down, you press F and M and N respectively. To skip forward or skip backwards in songs, you press F and B or F and V respectively. To play pause, you press F and X, and if you want to access any F key numbers, you just press Fn followed by the number key after that. It's a really simple layout and everything's printed on the key switches, so you don't have to go and memorize it, unlike some keyboards. But this is really simple. You still have access to a lot of the functions, especially since I don't use the F keys often. I'm perfectly okay with this. However, if there's some functions that you need and you always use when you're using a computer that is not here on this keyboard, I suggest maybe looking at a bigger keyboard or a keyboard with a layout that fits your workload better, because if you are, say, pressing home and N very often when you're doing your work, then you might want to look for a keyboard that has a home and an N switch that is dedicated to it, so you don't have to access it with a command every single time, which wastes time and is a trouble, it's a hassle. I don't like it. So yeah, that's something to put in consideration. But if you don't need the F keys, if you don't need print screen, scroll lock, pause, you don't need home and end, having to access them through a command would be just fine for you. Just make sure you don't forget the commands if you change out the keycaps for something better. Now we've talked about that, let's talk about lighting. And this pretty much has none. It has a green LED under the caps lock button, which tells you whether the caps lock is on, and that's pretty much the only LED I could find on this mechanical keyboard. So it's not an RGB gamery looking keyboard, which I'm okay with, I'm perfectly happy with. But if it's something that you really want in your keyboard, then you have to look elsewhere, maybe at like the RGB N Pro 2 or N Pro from, I can't remember the name of the brand, but the N Pro. It's a good keyboard with RGB as well, but it's going to cost a bit more. But for the price, not having RGB isn't really a bad thing at all to me. So let's talk about the switches in this keyboard. It's the Otemu Blues. I compared them recently with Gateron Blues in the video I'm going to link here. And it's a good switch, and the thing about the Magicforce 68 is I think there are many people who actually assemble these kits for this keyboard. So you're gonna have a wide range of switch choices, usually ranging from Otemu to Gateron to even possibly Cherry MX. So I'm not sure what switches are available, but I believe that if you're buying this keyboard, you should expect the most common switches to be available. So a clicky blue and a brown switch, maybe one linear switch usually will be available from whoever you're buying it from. And on which switch is the right one for you, that one is a decision you have to make yourself with your own research and your own experience. I can't help you on that because that's really subjective. However, I can give you a sound test if you want to hear what Otemu Blues sound like on this mechanical keyboard. So I'm just going to play it now. So I guess it's conclusion time then. Do I recommend this keyboard? As I said at the start of this video, this is a really good mechanical keyboard. And if you can get it for a cheap price, it's really good, especially if you want arrow keys on your keyboard, you want a compact keyboard with arrow keys and 4 program buttons, the insert, delete, page up, page down. It's got great build quality for the price. It's really good for anyone who doesn't care about RGB LEDs. It looks very clean and very nice in terms of its aesthetic. So I thoroughly recommend it if it fits your criteria. Of course, everyone has different uses for their keyboards. They use their stuff differently, so be careful when buying a keyboard. While it's a great option, it still might not be the best one if you're looking for a cheap KB. There might be other stuff out there that's better for you, especially say if you're a gamer and you just want absolutely the smallest keyboard you can get. So that's just one example, but There's that. I still thoroughly recommend it. I still think this is a great keyboard, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you thought, if you found it helpful or you enjoyed it, please go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to talk to me, ask any freaking question under the sun, comment. I reply to every single comment ever posted on my channel. I'm sweating now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.